In today's video, we're revealing a shocking truth about Canadian retirement that goes against conventional wisdom.
And that's why delaying retirement past age 60 could actually be costing you.
Over the years, we've worked with retirees across every province, and time after time, we've seen how the old advice, just work longer and save more, often backfires.
And that's why we created this video, to expose the hidden costs of delaying retirement and show you why, for many Canadians, retiring sooner may be the safer or smarter choice.
Let's dive right in.
So why is age 60 such a critical inflection point in retirement planning for Canadians?
Well, at this age, time becomes your most valuable asset. And it's not just philosophical. It's backed by health data, vitality curves, and real-life outcomes.
Traditional retirement advice doesn't talk enough about this. Instead, it focuses on hitting magic numbers, like save $1 million, which leads many to delay retirement unnecessarily.
And we've seen a lot of Canadians, a lot of prospective clients obsess over these figures. But in reality, most overestimate what they'll actually spend in retirement.
And financial institutions often push for excessive saving targets, partly because they profit from you keeping your money invested longer.
Meanwhile, the retirement landscape in Canada has changed. We've got TFSAs, new tax rules, and housing wealth have shifted what's possible.
Canadians who own their homes often sit on hundreds of thousands in potential retirement capital without even really realizing it.
And as people get older, we're seeing more people rethink their timelines, especially when they understand what's really at stake.
Yeah, understanding this shift is going to be key. A lot of our clients have gone through this scenario now, and it really does depend on what they are going to want in retirement. Alluding to the fact of, a lot of people have maybe a lot of their net worth built up into the value of their homes. For some people, that might mean passing on the value of their home through the estate to the next generation, and they may not want to ever have that play an impact to their retirement planning. We have some clients that aren't necessarily focused on their estate, aren't necessarily focused on, maybe what a traditional family might consider, and maybe are more focused on enjoying their net worth throughout the course of their retirement and spending it how they please. If that's the case, then absolutely the value of your home does play a role into that, and it does get factored into how much you're able to spend, therefore making you able to retire a little bit earlier than expected.
It's funny, oftentimes we'll hear clients talking about how much they want to leave behind.
Yeah.
And they'll say to me, Carlo, I want my last check that I write to bounce.
Yeah.
They want to use everything that they've accumulated up to this point for themselves. And that's not to say that they don't care about their children or their grandchildren, but if they've done their job as parents and teaching financial literacy and putting their kids in a position to succeed, well, then those kids will make their own wealth and don't necessarily need their parents. And so delaying retirement, trying to accumulate that $1 million, that $2 million to have the kind of retirement you want just isn't necessary any longer. We often think about specific withdrawal rates. The 4% rule is it's a general rule of thumb that people tend to use, but typically that's the rate that you will be withdrawing at, and be confident about not encroaching on your retirement capital. But that just may not be the case. Maybe you want to draw down on your capital. So retiring earlier than age 60 or 65 is possible if you do withdraw more than that 4% and use up some of the capital.
Yeah, but it does add, to your point, some degree of added risk. The client who wants the last check to bounce on their deathbed, essentially, there is going to need to be some degree of buffer room. At the end of the day, our job here is to make sure that, you have enough money throughout the course of your retirement. So there has to be some, potential give and take there, because we don't want to we never know when our expiry date is going to be,
right.
When we're going to have to leave this earth. So we need to be prepared for age 95, 100, whatever it may be. But that might be the extra motivating factor for some people to maybe think, maybe I don't have to push it to age 65 like my parents did, or I don't have to push it to 65 like my coworkers will. Maybe 60 or prior to 60 might be a good option for a lot of people. We've seen so many clients who thought retiring at 60 was unrealistic. Then they saw the full picture and realized it's totally within reach.
And many of them were actually worse off by waiting. And that's not just financially. They were worse off emotionally, physically, relationally.
So Carlo, let's explore that. Why do you think people resist retiring earlier, even when the math shows that they can?
Well, in a lot of conversations I've had with clients, they've been afraid to retire. A lot of people associate their identity to their work. And if they no longer have a reason to get up in the morning, get dressed, get out of the house, and go to their job, then they don't know what they'll do with themselves. And there's a fear of maybe losing your identity because you don't have that 9 to 5 or something that you were going to that kept you getting up in the morning.
Yeah. And then there's also the social part of it. You know, maybe people that you work with at around the same age are still working, or maybe you have siblings that are still working, and maybe you feel like you'd be, left on your own, so to speak, if you're the one to retire on the early side, and then figure out what are you going to do with your time Monday through Friday when all your friends and family are probably still going through the work grind, essentially. There's a lot of different impacts that people are going to have, but really, I think it does go back to the point you were making previously, where fear is the biggest driver as to why people continue to work. Because, as much as we've had a lot of people, dream about that retirement day when it does come, until it does come, and then all of a sudden they're second guessing it, and they're, are we ready? Should I be doing this? And rightfully so. People are naturally afraid of that major change, right?
I've also seen where clients delay retirement because there's an age discrepancy between the spouses. One of the spouses can retire with full pension, but if there's a 7 to 8 year difference in age and the other isn't ready to retire, the one who's eligible to get their pension doesn't stop working, because what would they do while the younger spouse was still working? Would they be lonely at home? Would they not, if there were travel plans that they wanted to do together and the younger spouse wasn't ready to retire, that's just more motivation to continue working, perhaps accumulate more wealth for their retirement. But yeah, I've seen where a discrepancy in age can delay an eligible retirement.
Yeah. So, I mean, to your point, there's a lot of qualitative factors that people can, kind of have in the background there that is impacting their decision as to when to retire. There are some quantitative sides of this, though, that maybe can work in your favor for trying to retire a little bit earlier. And on that more, tactical side, that's where the game really begins to change for Canadians.
I think you might be referring to that special type of account that was created back in 2009, the tax-free savings accounts. And now that it's been, 16 years since their existence, they are a massive opportunity. Most Canadians are underutilizing them in their retirement planning.
Yeah. And with this tax-free growth, there's no old age security clawback and flexible withdrawals. The TFSA can dramatically reduce the amount people will need for retirement.
So if you structure your income stream properly, a TFSA strategy can create sustainable tax-free income, and you can start that at age 60.
And because the TFSA income doesn't count against old age security or GIS thresholds even, it can preserve other government benefits as well.
With our clients and their income plans, we've helped accelerate their retirement timeline by 5 to 10 years in some cases, using the TFSAs as the core of their plan.
And really the key for this is going to be early contributions, growth-focused investments, and strategic withdrawals when in retirement.
We can't stress it enough. The combination of TFSAs and smart timing is one of the biggest financial unlocks for Canadians today.
Yeah, and that's the financial side, but there's another side to delaying retirement that most people never really are going to consider.
Let's talk about the personal cost of delaying retirement, the stuff that rarely shows up in financial projections.
Yeah, then that could be stress-related health issues, some missed time with family, or even postponed adventures that may never happen.
There are many healthcare stats that show clear improvements in health outcomes once people retire. Well, let's think about it. There's less stress. You have more time for movement, and in a lot of cases, you get better sleep.
Yeah, and let's not forget about relationships. Retiring at 60 often means you're more available, maybe for aging parents, grandkids, or your partner.
We've worked with clients who finally had time to travel, volunteer, or reconnect with old friends, all because they stopped waiting.
But if you wait too long, some of those experiences, they really are going to pass you by.
We all love living in Canada, but the climate can also play a role. If you want to enjoy those snowy escapes or summer road trips while you're active, earlier retirement can make a huge difference.
Yeah, delaying retirement might earn you a few more dollars, but what are those dollars essentially costing you in life in terms of these experiences that we're discussing?
So now that we've looked at the costs of waiting, what does a retirement plan at 60 actually look like?
Well, first, we start with a true spending assessment based on your real lifestyle, not just generic budget templates.
And then we take a look at all of your different income streams. Tax-free savings accounts, old age security, CPP, when you choose to take it, and any workplace pensions.
We're going to factor in some inflation, tax brackets, longevity risk, all of it into the financial plan.
And the goal is clarity, knowing what you can spend, what you can save, and how long your money will last.
Our clients are often shocked by how doable it all becomes once they see the full picture. Once it's laid out visually with different options that maybe they will have.
From phased retirements to part-time consulting to just fully retiring, there are choices.
Really, and purpose matters. Retirement isn't just a financial transition, it's a lifestyle choice. So we also help you plan for what comes next.
So if that involves travel, hobbies, giving back, family, it all belongs in that plan.
And we don't just plan for today, we plan for uncertainty, because the best retirement plans are flexible and resilient.
Now that you understand the surprising costs of delaying retirement past 60 and why the old advice might not be right for you,
If you're ready to explore your own retirement possibilities, click the link below.
we've put together a short video that walks you through our proven framework for retiring at age 60 in Canada with both financial confidence and life satisfaction.
We hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one.